We're back at the lake. I'm going to try to build on the momentum from the last couple sessions. I'm hoping that playing longer and buying in deeper, now $500, is going to lead to some bigger pots. So let's get into it. All right, get things started here. Looking down at king, king, queen, 5, single suited to the king under the gun. I open a 20. We get one late position caller and one of the blinds. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10, 8, 2 with 2 clubs. Small blind leads for pot. I decide to fold. I have a player behind me and not really having too many good turn cards, especially with the clubs out there. I lay it down and the other player folds as well, so small blind takes it down. Here I look down at king, queen, jack, jack, rainbow in middle position. There's an early position limp. I decide to limp. I feel like it's a good candidate to do so. I don't really want to get 3-bet, so I'd rather limp and then call a single raise. Late position player limps, and then back to the big blind. He makes it 25, and everyone calls. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9, 8, 4 with 2 hearts. When it checks to me, I check, and the button checks as well. So still going 5 ways to a turn. Turn brings another 9. When it checks to me, I think about betting, but decide to check. Button bets 40, folds back to me, and I decide to make the call. So we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 10, but it's a 10 of hearts, bringing in the front door flush. I decide to check, and the late position player checks back. I turn over my hand thinking I have the best hand, and I do. So we're taking it down. Here I look down at king, king, jack, 9, single suited to the jack under the gun. I open a 20, and we get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes king, 8, 6, rainbow. When it checks to me, I decide to check, hoping to check raise, but unfortunately everyone checks through. I feel like the last 2 or 3 episodes, every time I flop a monster such as here, I try to check hoping for a check raise, and it literally every time has checked through. So I think I'm going to have to reevaluate my strategy here. So still going 4 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 10 of hearts. When it checks to me, I can't slow play anymore. I bet 50, but unfortunately everyone folds, so we take it down. Here I look down at ace, ace, queen, jack, double suited on the button. There's one early position limp. I make it 25. The big blind and the limper call, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10, 9, 6 with 2 hearts. When it checks to me, I bet 65, and only the big blind calls, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 10, so obviously not a great card, but my opponent, he decides to shove for his remaining 110, and for that small of an amount, I pretty much have to call, so we're going heads up to a river. So river brings a 3, obviously doesn't change anything. My opponent turns over his hand. He has king, queen, jack, 9. So he just had a wrap and a pair, and we're going to take it down. Here look down at jack, 10, 9, 8, double suited in a straddled pot in middle position. There's one early position limper. I make it 50. One of the blinds calls and the limper calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 6, 4, 3 with 2 diamonds. Small blind checks, limper pots it to 165, and back to me. Can't really call here, I don't think, with a weak flush draw, 1 player behind, and no additional equity. I decided to lay it down, and the other player folds as well. The person who bet shows me his hand. He had 8, 7, 5, 4 for the flop straight, so he's going to take it down. Here I look down at ace, jack, 10, 2, double suited in middle position. There's one early position limp. I make it 25, folds back to the small blind. He calls, and the limper calls, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 5, 4, 3 with 2 clubs. When it checks to me, I bet 50, and both players fold, so we take it down. Here I look down at ace, king, queen, 2, single suited to the king in the small blind. There's a couple early position limps. One of the late position players make it 15. I call, and everyone else calls, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, deuce, deuce, rainbow. And I decide to check here. Again, I continue to try to slow play these big hands with big flops, and again, it does not work as everyone checks through. So we're still going 5 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 7, and I can't slow play anymore. I bet 35, and everyone folds, so we take it down. Some of you may have already seen this hand as I posted it last week as a short. So here's a hand I played the other day. I looked down at king, king, 9, 4, single suited to the king in the small blind. There's an early position limp, raised to 25, 3 callers behind, I call. Big blind makes it 150, he gets 3 callers behind, and I decided to fold. I had about 600 total, and being out of position, I decided to lay it down. Let me know what you think. Flop comes down 5, 4, 3 with 2 diamonds. The player to my left shoves, next player calls, late position player covers everyone, he calls. They're going to a run out. Turn brings an ace of hearts, river brings a queen of diamonds. Player to my left shows ace, ace, deuce, 8, flop to straight, turn to set. Next player shows 6 deuce of diamonds. He flopped a straight, river to flush, and the late position player shows the jack high flush. So I would have scooped this massive pot. Here I look down at king, 10, 10, 9, single suited to the king in middle position. There's an early position limp. I limp. Player to my left makes it 30. He gets 2 calls to me, and I call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack, 8, 3 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I check. Player to my left makes it 120. Both players fold back to me. And here, I believe I would have called if the board was rainbow, but being there's 2 diamonds out there, I'm out of position. This player is pretty aggressive. He's not the loosest player, but I know that if there's a brick on the turn, he's gonna certainly bet. So I decided to fold. Let me know what you guys think. Here I look down at ace, ace, queen 7, single suited to the ace in middle position. There's 1 limper. I make it 25 and we get 3 callers. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 10, 7, all spades. And when it checks to me, this is probably a spot in the earlier part of the vlog I would have just checked and played scared, but obviously having the nut flush blocker, I just decided to bet 35 and we take it down, so works out this time. Here look down at ace, king 10, 6, single suited to the ace in middle position. There's an early position open at 20. I call and there's 2 other callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack 7, 5, rainbow. Original raiser bets 50 when it checks to him and I fold. So here I look down at ace, queen 9, 7, single suited to the ace on the button. There's 1 early position limper. I make it 25 and only the limper calls, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes ace 10, 6, rainbow. When he checks to me, I bet 35 and he calls, so we're still going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 5 and he checks to me again, and I decide to slow down here. This player gets very sticky with 2 pair plus hands, so I decided to check and just take a free card, so still heads up to a river. River brings a 3 and he checks to me again, and I just decided to check with my ace. I don't really think I'm going to get him off any better, so I check and he turns over his hand. He's got pocket 6s, so looks like I wasn't going to be able to get him off that. Here look down at ace, king, queen, jack, double suited in the cutoff. There's 1 early position limp. I make it 25 and we get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, 6, 3 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I decide to check again. Try a 3rd time here to check with a monster and hopefully get someone to bet. Player on my left is pretty aggressive, so I check and unfortunately he checks back. So again, it doesn't work and we're still going 4 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 6 and not the best card, but when it checks to me, I can't slow play anymore. I bet 40 and everyone folds, so we take it down. Here I look down at ace 9, 5, 5, single suited to the ace in the small blind. There's a couple limps. Late position player makes it 15. I call and there's 3 other callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 6, 5, 3, rainbow. I just decided to lead here. It's too connected of a board for me to try to slow play. Obviously, me slow playing so far in the session hasn't worked out too well. So I bet 45 and only the original raiser calls, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings the worst card in the deck with a 4, and I check. He bets 100 pretty quickly, and I don't think I could do anything here besides fold. So that's what I do, and he's taking it down. So here look down at ace, jack, 9, 4, double suited in middle position in a straddle pot. Under the gun makes it 40. I call and everyone else folds, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes queen 10, 2, rainbow. He checks. I decided to check back, take a free card, so still heads up to a turn. Turn brings another 10. He checks again. I think about betting here, but pot's pretty small and I just decided to take another free card, so still heads up to a river. River brings a king. He leads 60. And then to me, he's played this pretty weird. I mean, you raise in a straddle pot, then you kind of check all the way to the river. So I think I just have to call here and just see what he has. So that's what I do. And he turns over 10 deuce. So he's going to take it down. So here I'm the straddler in a straddled pot. I look down at jack 10, 9, 7, single suited to the jack.
Straddle?
Yeah, it's a rare day.
This week?
Right.
Yeah. Player on my left limps. Next player makes it 40. There's 3 calls to me. I call. Player on my left short stack. He pushes for 150. Next player calls. Then the next player pushes for about 300 total. Then one of the late position players makes it 1,000, which, 425 effective for me. Next player calls, and I just decide to go with it. Pretty decent hand being in the straddle, and obviously getting a bunch of odds here with so many players. So I push, and we are going 6 ways all into a flop. Flop comes jack 7, 6 with 2 hearts. So pretty good for us here, top 2 and a gutter. Turn brings a 9, giving us now top 3 and a gutter. River looks like an 8, but it brings another 7. So I turn over my hand pretty confidently. I see 2 other players' hands. Player on my left has ace, ace, 4, 2 double suited. So pretty fortunate for me to dodge the nut flush draw there that he had on the flop. And I didn't capture it on camera, but the late position player, they had a small side pot. He had ace, ace, king 3. So pretty good to be up against all the aces, and we're taking down a pretty massive pot here. So this is about an orbit or 2 after the jack 10, 9, 7 hand. I look down at ace, ace, 3, 2 double suited in middle position in a straddled pot. There's 1 early position limp. I make it 50. We get 2 callers behind. Back to the small blind, he makes it 145, then back to me. I've never played with the guy before here in the small blind, so don't have any information to go off of, but you know, obviously double suited aces. I mean, the 3-2 side cards aren't that great, but double suited aces are double suited aces, so I go ahead and put in the raise to 585. One of the players folds. There's a short stack. He decides to push for about 300. Other player folds back to the small blind, and he makes the call. He's got about 600 total behind, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 8-6 rainbow. Small blind pushes for his remaining 615, and I don't think I have much of a decision here. I call, and we're going 3 ways to a run out. Turn brings a pretty bad card in the 9. It is a 9 of clubs though, so it does give me the backdoor flush draw. River brings a deuce, so no help to me. My opponent turns over his hand. He has king, queen, jack 9 double suited. So he got there on the turn, and unfortunately I couldn't improve, so he's going to take it down. I played a little longer after that double suited aces hand. Didn't really get a ton to play and decided to rack up. What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 500, out for 849, so a profit of 349. Started out kind of slow. I won the big hand with the ace queen jack double suited, flopped the open-ended with the flush draw, ended up calling his all in and holding there. After that, just kind of went a while. I mean, I did get some nice hands. They were just kind of like small pots, and then in some bigger spots I was getting like second and third best hands. So, you know, I was over 800 very early in the session, got down to about 425. I don't normally straddle, but I decided to put the straddle on in that big hand where I had jack 10 9-7 single suited. It ended up getting raised. I ended up calling, and then the guy to my left, he was short stacked. He had 150, so he pushed. Then there was a couple callers, then another raise, so I ended up just going with it. It was 6 ways all in. Flop 2 pair, turn 3 pair, filled up on the river. So I had over like 2100 after that, and then that last hand there, there was I believe there was, I made it 40 in the straddle pot with the double suited aces, couple called, guy made it, I want to say like 160. I potted it, short stack called, he called, and then on that flop, I mean, king 8-6 rainbow, not the best flop obviously, but after I'm already in 600, he's got 600 left. I think I just had to go with it. I ran the numbers. I was actually about a 55% favorite on the flop. Obviously, he got there on the turn. I couldn't hit my flush or counterfeit his 2 pair, so he ended up taking that. So it was kind of an up and down session. I think I'm playing pretty well, but I know I'm also running pretty well. Obviously not so much in that last hand there, but I'm still pretty happy with my result. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. If your viewing experience could have been better, please let me know how down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.